Thank you. Everybody, make some noise, EW style, for yourselves for making it to the summer 2022 virtual, one-on-one virtual mentorship. We really appreciate all of your hard work up until this point, to expertise-wise, to now be in a place where you can now share your wisdom with the future of the tech industry. So one more time, give it up for yourselves. Thank you. My name is Eli. Eli Johnson. I'm the Director of Programs and Initiatives here. I recognize all of you from our interviews. So what's up? It's good to see y'all. Happy y'all can make it. Yeah, so what today will be is our cultural onboarding, and what that is an overview into who we are as an organization, who our community is, but also this is an opportunity for you to meet some of our team members and just to get further ingratiated into the EW process. So we have a lot of information for you all today, but before we jump into any of that, I want to pass the mic over to Army Armstead, who is our Executive Director. So without any further ado, Army, what's up?
Hey, thank you, family. Thank you, family. It's really an honor to be here, meeting all of you amazing mentors. Can we just give a loud, silent round of applause and snaps for Eli for the amazing work that he has been doing? Really, truly grateful for him. But yeah, my name is Army. Pronouns he, him. I'm the executive director of Emergent Works, and I'm literally just happy to be here. I'm happy, this is the first cohort ever. I don't know any mentor. That means this team is growing. That means that Eli's doing a great job, and I'm really excited about just having you all a part of this community. I just want to give you a brief background about the history of EW, how we got here, why we're here, and how we can serve you as you contribute to this amazing community. So, we are a community of people that envisions a world where tech literacy, education, and skills-based training are freely available to individuals and communities disproportionately of color that are impacted by mass incarceration. And we realize this through developing software products and educational programs that provide mentorship and a pathway to careers in tech. And also to bridge the gap for communities impacted by incarceration. So to bridge the gap that for communities that are impacted by mass incarceration, and as the executive director, I have the honor of finding a strategic approach to building that gap as we continue to serve and steward this community and build this safe relationship around returning citizens. We have a mission to bring large-scale systemic change in the opportunities available to communities impacted by mass incarceration. And we're talking about equitable opportunity. We're talking about equitable access. We're talking about equitable resources and living, the freedoms that will help decrease the digital divide and close that racial wealth gap. By providing holistic support and trauma-informed care, we create a community and social impact that is supported by and empowered through technology. The reason why we're here is to use technology as a vehicle for social justice. We want to see communities that have these barriers, that are impacted, people and individuals that are impacted in a place where they can now have freedoms, where they can break generational curses, where their barriers turn into the genius of lived experience. And we stop with this viewpoint of who goes to jail, who comes home from jail, what that looks like or feels like. But no, none of us are the sum total of our decisions. Anybody's a decision away from, being on the other side, and we should provide a safe landing space for returning citizens, helping them with clean and affordable housing, livable wages, and a healthy community to connect with. So with that, EW started back in 2019. We are formally co-cooperative. We became Emergent Works. Actually, next month, that's going to make 2 years. We're lit. You get to celebrate with us. So we became Emergent Works in 2020, September 2020. The beauty is I started as a mentee and co-cooperative. So I started as a mentee, became the first and only employee here. And being a mentee, it really helps structure who we are now, because I come from the trauma. I come from being in system impacted. I come from destitution, but now we're here. Now there's a team. Now there's salaries. Now there's mentees. Now there's mentors. And that is what happens when people who are directly impacted by the problem get an opportunity, an equitable opportunity to create solutions. And we want to encourage that. We want every mentee to come through here and say, wait, like the leadership here started where I am? Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have an expectation of excellence, so that we know that y'all can achieve it. We know that we can get there with the help of our mentors. So you play such a crucial role in the success of the mentees, but most importantly, we're also here to serve you. However, Eli and myself can make this journey and process better for you, we want to do so, because you spending your time here, you pouring into us, you pouring into this community speaks volumes. And we are honored to welcome you. We're honored to journey with you. And as we are now in our 5th cohort, like we can celebrate all the iterations and changes that we made to be here. So I know the team is going to give you guys a whole bunch of other information, but you know, when we became Emergent Works, the whole idea was to provide equitable access, because we really want to see the communities empowered and people in position. We don't want to just see people get jobs, but are they in leadership positions? We don't want them to just get a job, but are they making more than minimum wage? You know, like, so you guys are a part of this process, and I just hope this onboarding is warm and welcoming and very informative. So I don't want to go over time, but really do appreciate all of you being here.
Give it up one time for Army. Thank you so much for sharing, man. As always, you know, let's keep it going with the rest of the team. Let's start with brand new first. So we have a brand new program manager on the team. Her name is Amanda Nathan. She will be the point person for a lot of the correspondence that you get throughout the cohort via email, also via Slack, but also she's going to have a great deal over how this program is formed. And where it's still so much in a young phase, although it seems like we've been doing so much, that where we go next is highly dependent on where the community needs to go. And Amanda is going to have an awesome touch on that pulse. So Amanda, feel free to share a few words.
Thank you so much, Eli, and thank you for being that buffer after Army. I didn't want to have to, you know, follow up that passion. So thank you. Thank you for doing the heavy work for me. But again, I'm Amanda Nathan, program manager. Many of you hopefully received my email. I recognize your lovely faces. So thank you for the headshot submissions, the bios. I appreciate it so much. So we're already ahead of the game. But again, welcome. Thank you so much. I look forward to interacting with you guys individually and collectively. So, you know, over the next couple of weeks. So again, thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here.
One time for Amanda. Woo! Thank you for sharing. Next up, we have our community manager, Paola Fernandez. She is literally the person that keeps this community here and is helping us expand as well. So Paola, please feel free to share a few words.
Thanks again, Eli. I am Paola, I'm community manager here. A couple of things I do is support our mentees, but you know, now we have a whole team of mentors, and I'm here to support if there's ever an issue when it comes to communication or maybe like cultural concerns. Like, I'm the person that you can always go to, and yeah, I'm here to find solutions. And with that being said, I'll throw it back to Eli.
Much appreciated. One time for Paola. Let's go. So I'm talking about, all right, next up, we have our student success coordinator, Laquan Dubose. Now, our student success coordinator is the one sole entity that is, or one of the entities responsible for making sure that our mentees achieve the goals that they set at the top of the cohort. So throughout these 20 weeks in total, he's really getting to know the mentees. And now this is an opportunity for us all to get acquainted with Laquan. Go for it, man.
Thank you, Eli. How's everyone doing? I believe I've met everyone here except for about 3 people. But once again, I'm Laquan, the student success coordinator. I think the last couple of y'all, we will be scheduling our individual success plans this week. I saw my calendar, but my job here is to assist the students and the mentees in overall success, as Eli stated, to make sure that all of you guys' jobs are effortless. We understand that learning anything new and teaching everybody is going to have some pitfalls and roadblocks. So I'll try to be that middle person to take away any personal roadblocks that they may have to just assist with. And I also assist you guys, as I explained in our ISP, with any personal support that you guys may need also. So I'm really excited and happy to see you all here. I know we've been doing ISPs for a while, so some of you haven't seen me in a while, but we are here today. So with that, I will pass it back on to Eli.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Laquan. One time for Laquan. All right. Next up, we have our outcomes manager, Teen Reiner. She is the person that is helping us bring the human aspect and the human data with the statistical data so we can really help bring this community to where it needs to be in the future. So Teen, go for it.
Yes. Hey, everybody. First of all, shout out to you all for being here. I'm so excited to meet you. I know this is the first time I'm meeting you all. I've seen your headshots in our system. So shout out to Amanda for sending out all of that. And shout out to you for sending all your information. Yes, like Eli was sharing, I really support with building out some of the infrastructures org-wide that really ensures our desired wishes and outcomes for org-wide programs, mentees, and also for you. And I've had the pleasure of working alongside some team members to build out the curriculum and with the curriculum committee to build out our 12-week mentorship curriculum for you all, this cohort. And you're going to hear more about that later on, but I'm very excited for you all to try that. And I'll be checking in with you about that progress, the outcomes of it, and just like any feedback for that. So really a pleasure to be here with you all. And yeah, thank you so much for being part of this program.
Woo, one time for Teen. All right, so that you have officially met one part of our team. Next part of our team is our engineering team. Now, what's really exciting about this team is that they not only help with contributing to the learning journey of all of our mentees in the community, but oftentimes and more times directly from the city. So first and foremost, I want to start with Ariel Herman. She is a software engineer here at Emergent Works, and I would want to share the floor with her for a few minutes, just so she can speak on her experiences here at EW and how the engineering team is contributing to those learning journeys. So Ariel, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Yes, so I'm an engineer on the team here at EW. I've been with the organization since February, and I'm really fortunate to work here because not only do I get to do what I like to do, which is code, there's also a lot of sort of mentorship and support that I can provide, both like to you all and the program side, and also to the other engineers on the team. Scissors is here, we'll talk to them. We also have Yusuf, who you all I'm sure will meet, who's amazing. And so, yeah, I'm really privileged to be able to work with the rest of the engineers on the team. I come from a non-traditional background myself. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to learn and pass on my knowledge as well, and work on digital products that help set people free. Yeah, thank you all.
Give it up for Ariel. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, we're not done with the Eng team yet. We have one more team member. Now, let's have a word from our former mentee and now Emergent Works QA engineer, Donald Scissors Clow. Go for it, Scissors.
Hey, everybody. I'm Scissors. My pronouns are they, them. I identify as genderqueer. Quite frankly, Emergent Works changed my life. I did 3 cohorts with Emergent Works, and my first cohort, I got to work on an app called the Not 911 app, which is like a community-based app that helps people to get support with, sorry, I'm a little nervous. It helps people get support with, rather than dialing 911. And so in my first cohort, I got to create a progressive web app version, which is sort of a website that can be installed on the homepage of your phone screen, and that allows you to use it like a native app. And so what I did that cohort is did that, and I also had a proof of concept that rather than having the database hard-coded into the app, we could use Airtable. So anybody, not just a dev, can add new things to the app. In my second cohort, I actually got to work on the app itself, going from like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React to using Expo and React Native and TypeScript to create both a, well, 3 things: a website, a PWA, a Android app, and an iPhone app. The Android app's actually online right now. You can go to not911.us and check it out. What we did that second cohort was to implement that proof of concept for the Airtable add multi-city functionality. I believe we're at like 13 cities right now. Anybody who's interested in adding more, just holler. We can give you access and you can do that. And one thing that's great about Not 911 is it's a somewhat accessible code base. If anybody wants to learn to do app development, this could be a thing that you could get real life experience with your, your GitHub repository showing you've worked on an open source project that I think looks pretty good at the end of a cohort. So I would suggest, if that's something you're interested in checking, and if anybody ever has any questions or anything like that, just reach out to me on Slack. And basically, I went through those 3 cohorts. My third cohort, I just focused on like JavaScript lessons, resume building, and just job development, things like that, trying to get to the point where I could get through a like a tech interview, getting through solving a problem on my own. And I got pretty much to that point, and then I got hired at Emergent Works, and I didn't have to go through that part of the process, which was amazing. Thank you very much. And how are we doing on time? Do I have time for a quick presentation of Not 911, or should we deal with that some other time?
You know what? Go for it, Scissors.
Cool. Somebody send me in the Slack. I mean, in the what do you call it? The chat, the website of the new gun violence initiative we're working with. Everybody go to either not911.us or Not 911 in the Android store and download it onto your phone. And I will add a new resource using Airtable and show you how rad it is. I'm nervous, so I'm gonna turn my camera off for a second so you can't see me sweat while Zoom makes my computer want to crash and things of that nature. Also, it's really rad to see some familiar faces. We got Ashley, Daniel, I think Mike, who are some repeat offending mentors. We got Brandon, who's a friend of mine in the last cohort. I think there's more. I can't see them all on the screen. Let me see. Here is somebody send me the website for that gun violence initiative. I'll share my screen. Oh, actually, cool. They're sharing their screen. So what I will do, rather than letting you see what I'm up to on Airtable, I will let them show you the app. So if you go to New York City and go to physical violence, I guess. And well, I don't see a thing in the chat.
You've got to click on progressive web app on the left-hand side there. There you go.
Let me get that where I need it. So what I think I'll do is I will just add a website that seems relevant, and if it's not, I'll remove it at the end of this in the means of keeping things going. So what you can do is you can get access to our Airtable website, and you can add a, what do you call it? You can add a just an entry to a spreadsheet, and it shows up in the app. And since I'm nervous, I am just going to actually add not 911 to this for right now, because that's an easy one. Not 911. I'm going to put it in the violence category. I'm going to say that it has 24-hour access. I am going to add a website. Where'd it go? It just got sorted. Sorry about that. So add a website. Bear with me. And description. Let me grab that from Not 911 real quick. I appreciate all your patience. I usually do this faster. So we've got this information here. I will add that to our description. There's the description. And I will do one more thing. If it's a crisis-based initiative, you can put a Boolean into the database that makes it show up in the top in the red. So now if you refresh the app, you should see it in the violence section at the very top. Hit hard refresh. Try doing a hard refresh, like a Command or Control R. Oh, maybe scroll to the bottom of the red section too. Sorry, it might be at the bottom of the red section. Well, it's in there, I believe, and I'll stop taking up time with that. And thank you, everybody, for letting me chat.
All right, thank you, Scissors, for that presentation. Yes, yes, thank you. All right, yes, super easy to use app. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, well, you guys are in for an amazing community of technologists and thinkers. Yeah, to get into that. So without any further ado, let's jump into the cultural onboarding. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, and Paola and I will go back and forth with different principles or different segments of this cohort and what to expect. So let's get that going. All right. Cool. Can you guys see? All right, there you go. All right, so once again, welcome to the Summer One-on-One Virtual Mentorship. Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up. Very happy to have you guys here once again. As you can see, our team is full of folks that understand where really the future is going. And that future is community. That future is technology. So let's get it, just jump right into it. Okay, mission and a vision. What is our mission here at Emergent Works? Training and employing returning citizens and those impacted by the criminal legal system through tech literacy with an effort to decrease recidivism and to close the wealth gap. Let me put something in perspective for you guys real quick in regards to our mission. We all here know technology. Some of us know numbers more than others, but we know this, man. $702,000. Sounds like a good chunk of change, right? Right? Yeah. It's a lot of money. Now, does it sound like a lot of money if you were to hear that that is the amount in between causing the wealth gap? If you were to not hear that, dang, it's only $702,000, does that change your perspective on what the wealth gap is? It seems doable, right? It seems like, oh, we can get that from here and get that from there. And because it hasn't happened that way already, it lets us know that it's more systemic than we think, more systemic than we've been programmed to believe. So that leads to our mission, a world where tech literacy, education, and skills are available to all people, despite their history of incarceration and justice involvement. At the end of the day, we are very much aware that there is a disproportionate level of concern, care, and respect for certain groups of people when we see that when certain systemic attacks have happened that have now levied us into a place, to an industry where it's no longer sustainable. We all know the disparities in the tech space. We don't have to go through that, but what we can go through, what we can acknowledge is what we can do to change that. And here at Emergent Works, this is how we're doing that with community. So next up, we have our values. Now, some of our values, these are, if you guys recognize any of these are actually from our interview. And when I asked some of you what two of these stand out to you the most, it's because at some point, all of these values come into play. All 5 of these need each other to coexist in this space. Now, here at EW, we say this is a mix of hard work and smart work. So if you ask me, today, my biggest value, I would say community. We practice humility and empathy to foster an inclusive and respectful environment for everyone. What that means is, at least to me, is that in teaching these new skills, in imparting this wisdom, we're doing it with a human foot first. We're looking at another human first. If we can see ourselves in these folks, then we have a better opportunity of not only teaching them, but keeping them engaged long enough to see this journey through so they can truly have a sustainable life, a sustainable financial future, where they can create generational wealth or start sowing the seeds for that. All of that is possible. And like I said, community is my thing today. Tomorrow it might be truth. You might have to pull a few strings and get some justice. Next on Thursday, it might be exploration, who knows? But keeping it on community, I'd like to pass the mic over to Paola, who is going to be talking about our community.
Hey all, if I start stuttering, it's because I get nervous. So I apologize in advance. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the community manager here. And one thing that I love to say is that here at Emergent Works, we really, truly value community first before anything. One thing that you might notice when interacting with your mentee is that, trauma shows up in different ways, especially when it comes to learning new things, being in a vulnerable power dynamic. Like they're relying on y'all to give them answers, and that could be, that could leave you vulnerable, and it's nerve-wracking. And yeah, so here at Emergent Works, we center the development of people and community over products. We create community and social impact that is supported by and empowered through technology. And one example of this is, just like Scissors showed y'all, they created technology that resolves the issues that they've seen in their own homes, like in their own neighborhoods. And that's exactly what we want to do here. Like no one has had that, at least from the communities that I'm from, and as a formerly incarcerated person myself, not having access to education or programs like this, really altered the trajectory of my loved ones. And now we are in a position of power where we can teach this community, you might not have a website or an application that resolves these issues. Here's these skills, let's do something about it. Like that's what we want. We want to see people be empowered enough to solve solutions for themselves and for the community around them. Because, you know, the criminal justice system is not the only system that has so many issues. Like, there's so many different forms of oppression within these communities, whether, you know, it's a gender issue or like poverty, you know, like I could go into a whole spiel. If you ever want to sit on a Zoom call and just talk and cry about it, feel free to reach out. But yes, I'll throw it back to Eli.
Thanks a lot, Paola. Now, why are we doing this? All right, well, Paola just said that there's so many things wrong with so many different areas of our overall system. Now, when we say, why are we doing this? We can say it's because we want to end mass incarceration and the over-criminalization of Black and brown and poor folks. We can say it's because we believe in access to technology education as a universal human right. We can say we are all complicit in the system of mass incarceration and it impacts us all. Therefore, we all have an obligation to end it. Right now, we can take all of this and just say, we cannot afford for anybody to be left behind. The future is coming fast. Technically, the future is right now. See how fast I just went? I was a present. The future is upon us in ways that we have never seen. We're hearing news articles about how time is speeding up. Hey, I'm no scientist. I'm no, social or, software engineer. But one thing I do know is people. I know human beings. And what I do know is that if we have more and more and more people, whether it's because of COVID and just a broken educational system, or it's because there's a lack of people being able to get sustainable jobs in an industry like technology that can more than accommodate that. If we do not prepare people for the future, we are not going to reach the solutions that actually will help change the world. Now, we're not talking about fairy tales here. We are all adults here. And I think we can all understand what it means to change the world, means to change ourselves and to change the things that we have control of. Right now, being on this Zoom call, there's 27 of us on here, 27. There's 27 different lives, networks that this information that you're going to hear today and experience over the next 12 weeks can truly, truly impact. And we want that for not just these mentees, but for you, for your colleagues, because we also know oppression to one is oppression to all. And unless we really start operating that way, we will not be able to help anybody. We already say we do not need to can't save anyone. But if we can't even provide people with options, then what are we truly doing here? Next, our approach, purely trauma-informed. Now, trauma-informed care recognizes the presence of trauma symptoms and acknowledges the role trauma may play in an individual's life, including service staff. Now, adopting a trauma-informed approach is not accomplished through any single particular technique or checklist. It requires constant attention, caring, awareness, sensitivity, and cultural awareness. Cultural awareness is where this truly is rooted in. We can talk about all the different principles, and we will, about trauma-informed care, but at the core of it is culture. Understanding that I am different than you, but we have all of these commonalities. So if we're crossing paths at a place in our lives where we don't have any commonalities, I can respect you enough in your past, your present, and the potential of your future that I can treat you like a human being. Especially for folks that are, especially for returning citizens and assisted impacted folks, there's not only a stigma, but a system levied on folks to make sure that they cannot get through to the next level. And if the technologists are behind the boards programming these apps and providing these jobs for people to truly be inclusive, because right now in corporate America, DEI is everything. Not that it's a trend, It's actually the evolution of a lot of unsustainable practices. In a lot of ways, this is the evolution of what or DEI and more further inclusion practices, or the evolution of affirmative action. Being able to see that, wow, this system is truly broken. How can we fix this together? Trauma-informed care is how we do it together. To talk about some of the principles in which we can achieve that is by, one, providing a safe space. Safety is what we all truly care for. Right now, I'm in New York City, all right? I'm sure all of you guys have either seen our mayor, have seen the YouTube videos, the World Star videos of all the madness that's happening here. Yeah, it's crazy, but we can still breathe, because there are still people here that are doing everything that they can, even if it's in the quarters of their own home, to give themselves a peace of mind, to give themselves a peace of to give themselves a peace of mind when it comes to their career, when it comes to their family's well-being. Being in a safe place is everything. So imagine now in a world where working from home is the new normal. Safety, well-being, mindfulness is paramount. That's why we start with safety. Then we go to trustworthiness and transparency. More specifically, because this community that we serve has been impacted truly unjustly by this system, and trust is often the first thing that is broken. As you get to meet your mentee and more of our community members, both current and alum, you're gonna hear some truly amazing stories of resilience, of confidence, and of just pure will. So that trustworthiness and transparency is what allows those positive benefits to shine through in our mentees. 3, peer support. We have, mentor sharing circles on a bi-weekly basis that we'll get into in a little bit. But this is where you can also create a safe space for each other. You guys all here are peers. Everyone in this Zoom chat is peers. Some of you may even know each other from other programs, or even just being colleagues. But peer support and being able to help each other not only get through our personal learning journeys as mentors, but also being able to replicate that same care for your mentee is paramount. Because truthfully, the goal is to have your mentee one day be your colleague. 5 years down the line, 2 years down the line, heck, 9 months down the line, you and your mentee may be at a very different level relationship-wise, because now their needs may be different, and the resources you can provide may be drastically different than when you first met them. So the commitment that you're making to your mentees in the regard of peer support, it's really ensuring your growth by making sure they grow as well. Next, collaboration and mutuality, empowerment and choice. And lastly, cultural, historical, and gender issues. These are the guiding principles to a trauma-informed approach. Even if you do not know how to do any one of these perfectly, if you're not a master at any one of these, that is fine. We will absolutely have way more open discussions and trainings in regards to trauma-informed training, so it becomes more of an everyday part of your not just of your workflow, but to make sure that you have a better opportunity at becoming a change agent within your organization. Now, next up, we have our community. Oh, pardon me. There's actually another, pardon me, wrong way. Yes, our community expectations. So I'm going to pass the mic back over to Paola, and she will jump into what we're looking for.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eli. So thank you so much for highlighting why being trauma informed is so important. Because it leads into what we expect from you just as much as what you should expect from your mentee. And the first thing is, definitely be passionate about working with formerly incarcerated or justice involved individuals. Being trauma informed is so essential. Even as a person with lived experience, you feel the energy when, your heart is not all the way there. And yes, you could teach anyone how to code, but you know, this demographic has been harmed by so many different systems, and they're coming to us as vulnerable people that want to learn and want to pursue bigger things and grow, and, you know, like, just honor that. That's all we ask for. We definitely expect you to be empathetic, patient, and adaptable. Trauma shows up in different ways. It could very well go super smooth and amazing, but some days could be harder than others. And that could be stemming from the person's personal life, or just being frustrated that they're learning new things and it's not easy. As somebody who learned how to code, who was learning how to code, it was definitely frustrating. So yeah, just, you know, be easy. Always reach out to me if you are having issues with communication and stuff. Like, I will more than happy to be a buffer and like a liaison, if you will. Next thing would be strive to improve your technical and personal skills constantly, committed to being lifelong learners. Although these mentees are going to be learning from you, there's so many things that you can learn from them, like so many. And I encourage you to tap into that. Definitely tap in. I always tell people to tap in their biases, like their internalized biases. Like, obviously don't ask intrusive questions, but if there's something that you want to learn and that's appropriate to do so, you know, build that rapport in that way. Like, it's, you know, this is a relationship that you're building. Another thing that I would say, attend mentor sharing circles, town halls, community outreach initiatives, team building events. We understand that everyone's super busy, so it's not like, you know, a heavy calendar of these events, but if there are events, just please join. You know, it really also helps with that rapport building, because, you know, mentees see you there, it's like, oh, you know, they're there for me. Next thing would be facilitate the training. The apprentices are your team and you are their coach. Guide them in learning what they need to know, both tech and non-tech skills. Monitor progress, give them feedback, organize any additional resources that might support their learning. Like, you know, they are looking at you for guidance and for leadership. So definitely honor that. And finally, continuous feedback loop and regular check-ins with the direct managers and our executive director. Like, we really value feedback here because it only helps us learn and grow to be the best organization that we can be. And like I mentioned, if there's any way I can support you all with that, like, feel free to tap in. But other than that, I'll throw that to Eli. And again, thank you all for being here. We really, really, truly appreciate it. And I do want to emphasize, like, you are about to potentially change the trajectory of another person's life. Like, if it wasn't for Emergent Works, I'm not sure where I would be. You know what I mean? Like, these programs are really essential for, you know, better life betterment, higher paying jobs, just growing ultimately as a human being inside and out. So thank you.
Thank you, Paola, for sharing. And just to piggyback a little bit off of Paola, like, please put your own sauce into how you choose to build your relationship with your mentee. You know, it could be a scary thing, like knowing that there's so much, there's all this pressure, like, I can't let this person fail. But like, I promise you, when you really start logging on to Zoom and you're talking to this person twice a week, it's like, oh, man, I enjoy this. This is now part of my routine. And that's been one of the biggest points of feedback from mentors of the previous mentors, is that now they feel a part of that person's life in this regard. And as long as there's clear goals as to what they want to do and where they're looking to go, man, like, Paula's 1,000% right when she says your mentor is going to change your life in many ways. My mentor did. Her name is Ashley Chen. She's actually in the crowd today. She's going to be speaking to us a little bit later. But just to show you, even on behalf of Scissors, like the mentor aspect is so imperative to the growth of folks. Now, I know we are very, very much pressed for time right now. So I want to speed through these next few slides. And that is, what does it mean to be a mentor? Sidebar, this presentation will be sent to every last one of you, so you can review on your own time and reach back out with any questions or feedback you may have. So some requirements that we spoke about during our phone screening was being efficient in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, being able to have availability to attend all sharing circles, highly competent with web development technologies, and just willing to go the extra mile to help a student. These are things that are just the basic or that are the surface level points of encouragement as somebody learns something new. Now, the mentor-mentee agreement. This is where you are essentially going to be one, booking your sessions with your mentee, and that is all on GCal. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you have to cancel, if you have to end your commitment for any reason, or if you're just running late, please communicate with your mentee or with the program manager, Amanda, so we can, so there's always different points of contact so we can get word to the mentee. And don't worry, we told the mentee is the exact same thing on your behalf, because we do appreciate and value all of your time. Now, some of the program details. Overall, we are a 20-week program. We meet primarily on Zoom or Google Hangouts, whichever one that you and your mentee feels more comfortable with. Now, for the mentor and mentee's time commitment, it's twice a week, Monday through Friday, for a weekly time, for a total time commitment of 4 hours. Now, if you want to break those hours up, an hour, 1 day a week, but then between Monday and Friday, by all means do so. We want to make sure everybody still has their weekends, because, you know, life is gonna life and people still have schedules. So once again, we want to value your time. Next, we do host bi-weekly sharing circles to support and coach our mentees, mentors in active learning workshops and discussions regarding trauma-informed care and DEI-based training. Now, these sharing circles are no more than an hour, but this is where you would not only be able to fellowship with each other, but you would also have the opportunity to get real-time training and exposure to various workshops and exercises we have in store for you. That is probably going to be the fun part of the sharing circles, being able to really divvy up everyone's opinions and learn new things together. So we're really excited about that. And lastly, the projects will be picked by the mentees. Those projects, as we discussed earlier in your interviews, are the passion projects. Now, talking about code, this is just a little bit more about the programming languages that we use here. And actually, this is actually a great with Ashley Chen, so she could speak a little bit more about our curriculum and the structure of our curriculum based on the phase levels. Now, remember when I asked you guys what phase level do you prefer? This is where all of that comes to head. So Ashley, would you like to, so I'm gonna pass the mic to Ashley, and Ashley, please feel free to share your screen so they could follow along with the curriculum. What's up, Ash?
Hello. I see a lot of familiar faces, so I'm really glad that there are many returning mentors. But for those who don't know me, I'm Ashley. I use she, hers. I have gone through this mentorship program. Eli was my mentee, and I'm really excited to show you actually what we have in store this cohort. So I'm going to share my screen. So if you have any questions, I guess we could leave it for the Q&A at the end since we're running a little late. But the 3 phases that we have are kind of broken down by the level of digital literacy and the level of basic website development or full stack development that the mentee has. So the first one I'll start off with is phase 1, where the focus is mainly on digital literacy. This is sort of the first and very like beginner of how to use computers, how do you navigate different sort of applications and softwares, how do you use your browsers to do various things. And this is something that if you know that your mentee does not have, I guess, the comfort level of going straight into like coding, this is definitely where they should start. And so for like phase 1, we have things broken out by internet safety, how you should be using technology to generally help with just your daily life and productivity. So we have a lot of links here that mostly lead to resources and lesson plans that your mentee can go through on their own, but we highly recommend you to go through it together. And hopefully that will lead to your mentee asking more questions about how to do or basically all of these different learning topics. There are a couple things under key mentee deliverables that are mostly activities and things that hopefully you can check off, like a checklist that would help us just track where the mentee is according to how we have the phases organized. And even for phase 1, we have a passion project lined up for them, and that essentially is when they get to do a presentation about a research about a technology topic that is listed in this PDF. And so here they're actually creating a presentation or an infographic that will teach the rest of the cohort on this technology topic. And so you could follow this. There are a lot of links and details as to like how to do and how to teach each of these learning topics. And they're pretty straightforward and also have a lot of different styles of teachings in each resource. So there are words, articles, and also videos that they can watch. And this is also really great for people who just want to go into learning how to use stuff like LinkedIn, how to have good etiquette over Zoom, how to use email correctly. And so all of that is covered in the first phase. The second phase is what you would consider like the start of learning how to use HTML and CSS, and also some beginner basic JavaScript. And so just like phase 1, this is organized in the same way where we have learning topics, and we also have just things that you can check off the checklist to help us track where the mentee is. And so things like creating a GitHub account, setting up their local environment are some of the things that you would do in the first module of phase 2. And a lot of these learning topics can be done through the Odin project. And so here we have links to some of them. And within Odin project, there are a list of essentially a lot more resources that you can help your mentee go through. There are also videos as well, but essentially we want you to be able to help the mentee walk through this resource. And if there are things that come up where you realize that you actually want to teach them something that is from like Code Academy, or maybe you find like a really interesting activity that's outside of like the Odin project, you know, feel free to like spin it up and definitely let us know like what kind of resources you use, because if it's helpful to your mentee, it's probably going to be helpful to like many other mentees, and I'm sure like a lot of mentors would like to know those resources as well. And the passion project is pretty it's pretty obvious that you just want to have them create a project where they use HTML and CSS to create a website that is something that they're passionate about. And so that is phase 2. phase 3 is the next step where we get into learning more about how to write more complicated or complex JavaScript and more intermediate HTML and CSS. This is also where they get to learn how to use APIs, learning the basics of databases, and also introductions to Node.js, React, stuff like that. And so this is also formed it's organized in the same way. And the passion project could possibly be something like not 911 project, like what Scissors had just presented. But all in all, it's organized in the same way for each phase. I should also want to preface that this is the first time that we're using the Odin project and this structure of standardizing our curriculum. So we want to know what works, what doesn't, what is frustrating from both the mentors and the mentees. This is definitely going to help us figure out how we can make this a lot easier for you as a mentor when even if you're meeting with like a mentee for the second time in the next cohort, we want to make sure that the mentee is able to understand and actually learn what they want through the program. And so we really appreciate it if you could give us as much feedback as possible. And if you're interested in working with us creating this curriculum, we have a committee called the Outcome Support Committee. So if you are interested in also helping us create this, you can just let me know on Slack, or you could let Eli know as well. Yeah, sorry if that took longer than expected. I hope I hope it's all covered.
Oh yeah, you're good. Good. Yeah, I'll put in the chat, everybody. We're gonna go for another up until about 7:15. So if you do have like a hard out at 7, no worries. We will be sending the full video recap tomorrow along with the presentation. So all good. Next up, let me share the screen and pass the mic back to Paola for the attendance policy rules.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So attendance, it's so important. You know, you all need to be there in order to engage and learn. So we do have a policy that we let them know where it's a no call, no show. It's not allowed, to be mindful of your time and their own. And we would recommend to let your mentee know to really set that boundary. We strongly encourage sharing circles. We do have a sharing circle bi-weekly where you all come and show your wins and your blockers. It helps build community, share resources, program updates is something that we also share during our sharing circles. We let them know that please don't miss out in 2 weeks in a row, and there's no more than 3 excused absences. And you know, this attendance policy is not only just for your mentees, but we ask the same from you all, because it could be very discouraging for a mentee where their mentor is not showing up for them and is not communicating that they won't be around. So yeah, we do emphasize no more than 3 excused absences. We must communicate with their mentee 24 hours in advance. We ask two sessions per week, 2 hours per session. You can figure out what's the best time between you and your mentee. We do give them like 1 or 2 hours of assignments. And we require them to fill out a feedback form to be filled out weekly, just to see like what worked for them this week and what didn't. And it's really helpful if you would track their attendance as well, if that's okay. Sorry if I stuttered. I don't know. Sometimes I just randomly get nervous.
No, it's all good. It's all good. No worries. So let's jump into the next slide. Now, I just want to piggyback, like, time is everything. We understand that you know, these days and these times are of the essence. So please just be mindful of not only yours, but time management for your mentee. And yeah, we got everything else covered. You guys will come to see we are very thorough in our support. We just really want you guys to customize this learning experience as much as possible, because you know you're their Yoda in this thing, you know. So next up, we have how we communicate. So at the end of this onboarding, all of you will be invited to our Slack channel. Now, in that Slack channel is where you will get the centralized communication between the entire EW community. So you'll have access not only to the summer 22 cohort, so you can interact with your fellow mentors, but you'll also be invited to all of our community-wide channels, so you can get a better feel and build relationships with the greater EW community. Now, next up, we have Google Calendar. That's where all of the notifications regarding EW events will be. That is also where you would schedule all of your one-on-ones with your mentee, as well as Gmail. Anything that we send officially on Slack, we send through Gmail. So everybody can have multiple points of contact. We just want to make sure all the information you're getting is sticking and being applied. So if you do have any questions about something, or you haven't gotten any correspondence in more than like 2 days, check the Slack. You know, there might be something wrong, because we're definitely all over the place with that, in a great way. Now with Zoom, we meet on Zoom primarily for all of our sessions and events. And lastly, Google Meet, to each his own, whatever makes you and your mentee the most comfortable. Now, I want to share with you guys the link to our one-on-one showcase. Oh, actually, pardon me, I'll share that in 1 second. Our Winter 21 virtual showcase, that's where we literally get to see what all of our mentees have had the opportunity to work on over the last 20 weeks, both from the skills they learned throughout the pre-program all the way up to meeting you as their mentor and building their passion projects. So one of the things that we can absolutely do is share this link, and then you guys can check out all of our showcases as well. So give me 1 second. Let me just get that link. Oop, thought I had it. We will share that in the Slack channel. So as you guys get invited, we will have that list as well. Next up, we have the first mentorship session. What does that look like? All right, I know about the trauma-informed stuff. I'm looking forward to that. Great. I'm in, my peers seem cool. What does this first session look like? What am I supposed to do? Well, get to know each other. That's the first thing. You're building trust, whether it's over Zoom or you're eye to eye. A human being is a human being, and human beings will do what human beings do. Then that's talk. And if it's a little bit tough to talk at first, then let's just tell them about you. Maybe there might be some commonalities there. Maybe you might be the shy one and they're just the one that's introducing themselves for 25 minutes. No problem. That's great, because this is really the ice-breaking session. So if you want, you can always play some icebreaker games. That's always good. The different ways just to kind of ease the tension. Even a joke, it could be as simple as that. But to be honest, just from the energy we're getting from the mentees, I truly do believe they'll be just as enthused to meet you as you are them. So next is assess the mentee's skill level through conversation and the assessment scores. We will be sharing your mentee's digital literacy assessment score with you. That was taken before their pre-program. So as you get to talk to them and see where they're at now skill-wise, you can kind of tell what may have been improved in that time, what may still be needed to be worked on. All those things can be learned in one conversation. Next is setting goals. You know, what do you want to accomplish in these next 12 weeks? Creating homework for mentees, even if you don't want to call it homework. Take homework. I guess take on work sounds a little bit better. Things that will not only keep them locked into the fruition of their goals, but also for you to keep track of their progress. You want to know if you're going to have to spend another week or two with these lesson plans, or how I need to tweak these lesson plans because we're still on this one topic. That's okay. Although the modules are time capped, it is completely on you once again to build that custom learning experience. Next, set up any tools they need. Essentially, that's your workspace. And then lastly, decide on when and how you will meet, whether Zoom or Google Meet, and then put it right there in the GCal and invite us at mentorship@emergentworks.org. Now, as we round out to the last stretch of the onboarding, let's get into what some potential passion projects can look like. One in particular is one that Ashley and I worked on, called TouchTone. TouchTone was a streaming service that I built to essentially solve the problem of songwriters not getting credit and behind the scenes musicians getting credit so they can create more of a viable means of living. So she helped me build this. I learned everything I needed to about HTML and CSS, but also the functionality of JavaScript. That little spiel I just gave for that little 20 seconds, that's what kicks off the mentee showcase. When folks present their projects, all we want to know is, how did you get this, or how did you get here? Can you explain how you got there? And that's it. Next up, we have just a brief highlight of some of our former mentees. Now, Maria Martinez is a former mentee who submitted this passion project, which was a campus safety app that was ran by for students by students because they were having some issues with the local police department and the safety of the students. So she decided to create one, and it blew up on campus. Let's just say that. So that would be an example of an active passion project that someone's working on. And she presented that during the cohort that I started. If I didn't mention it before, I'm also a former mentee. Next up, a little bit fast forward, Maria shared this message not too long after that passion project because she received an opportunity to intern. And then she got the job at Disney because somebody in that cohort loved her project, and having to know someone who at Disney who had an internship opportunity readily available, she ended up sticking with it for quite some months. I can't remember the exact amount. And then they offered her a base pay of $102 with all the dressings on top of that. Now, for a formerly incarcerated person to, in no time, but through hard work and dedication, be able to earn that, she didn't share that with the entire community for ego. She shared that to tell everybody that, yo, this is real. It happens. Stick with it. Stick with it. So just a little bit of perspective as to where your mentees can go. And lastly, here are some next steps. Now, you get paired with your mentee by the end of this week. So keep an eye out for your email. We will be sending correspondence regarding the photos and bios of your mentee so you guys can begin iterating on when your first session will be. Then join Slack. We're going to do that right after. We want to make sure you all get in the channel and just start, sharing some notes, some feedback on everything, and just getting ingratiated into the community. Next, schedule the first mentorship session with you on Google Calendar using mentorship at emergentworks.org. That is once you meet your mentee and you guys have that convo, first thing you do after that session, do that. Then fill out the first session feedback form. The first session feedback form is for us to get a better idea of how your first session went, where any support may be needed, and so on and so forth. And then lastly, next Monday, we have the one-on-one virtual mentorship town hall from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, at that town hall, we're going to be going over the view of what the next 12 weeks will look like. Over the next few days, you will all be receiving our calendar. for the remainder of the cohort. Now, at this town hall, we will also be answering some questions that you all may have, as well as your mentees. So all the communication can be centralized. Now, periodically throughout our cohorts, we are notorious for having town halls just so we can get alignment with the community members, which is so important when everything that we're building, everything that we're ideating is for the community. So we urge you all to please accept the RSVP tomorrow when the invite officially goes out for the town hall, to show up. Continue to fellowship with each other. And I honestly cannot wait for all of you to meet your mentees and to start this learning journey, not just because the mentee has the opportunity to get a high-paying tech job or just a sustainable job, but because you as a mentor have the opportunity to now take this new just amalgamation of knowledge and just disperse it across your world. And that's really what we want. When we talk about change agents and doing hard work, it's really about encouraging and feeding the people who have to do that work. So you're going to hear a lot from me throughout this cohort in regards to just your experience as a mentor and different things we have going on. But this whole thing here we have going on at EW is truly a team effort. And I just want to thank the team for not only showing up this evening, but in making this process such a valuable experience, and we are excited to have you be a part of it. Thank you, guys.